in their mindsets, and let me say they're living in expectation for 5G, or they have it in thought that they're actually using 4G but not knowing they're using 2G. 2G is better, don't get me wrong. 2G is fast, don't get me wrong. Or should we promote it to 3G? It's better, don't get me wrong. It's good, don't get me wrong. But at this moment in time, I think 5G or 4G is more better. It is a subjective truth anyway, but I'm using this as a bedrock of a philosophy for us to understand the paradigm to how we are having deep shifts in the ecosystem of the world largely. Why I think many Nigerians are still operating on the frequency of 2G in assumption for 4G. It is crowd engineering. To be very honest, most of us can easily be confused when it has to do with social knowledge. Now, let me share this for you so that you not get it so twisted. For instance, you just see a post online and you find out that 1,000 people actually just posting this thing consistently. An average person will just believe that's the truth. It is not your fault. This is how your mind is being shaped. And if this has become your reality for so long, I can tell you that you're among that crowd. You're among those crowd because Nigerians are not, let me not use that word, but most of us are not deep researchers. We just believe things based on the present facts that a lot of people agree to it. And the bedrock to how many philosophies sit to work is because there's an agreement for it to function. And under this alignment, anybody can be engineered. So the fact that you hate black colors does not give a fact that everybody should eat black colors. So if large numbers of people come up and start eating black colors, and you start following them to eat black colors, this reveals so much about you that you cannot defend your thoughts to some certain limits. You are only using the defense mechanism other people have created that agree to that alignment, and that is what you're using. Let me share this instance. Someone that starts smoking, just for disclaimer, anyone that just starts an habit, and that habit is actually under an habit that can leap you up into addiction, and you find out that most of the people that convince us into doing most of those things we are doing presently are actually good defenders of them. So if you ask this person why you're doing this, the person will tell you the good health benefits, the person will tell you the mental benefit, the person will tell you the financial benefit of them. And when we are watching them explaining these things, because we find facts in what they say, most people start believing it as truth. And whenever you are doing it as an error, and maybe it comes to a place where people have to question it, you come up only not with what you've, let me say, not with just your experience, but your exposure that you have about it. And guess what? When those people output the habit you learned from them, they never come out to set a disclaimer, but you have already been wired under that frequency. Say never again. Number two is assumption. One of my friends, it says assumption is the only key that can be used to rewire all surface of expectation. Now, because you might tie your expectation towards something, and the alignment of your assumption will be perceived everywhere, because it will be so visible that even you don't know at what point are you judging from. So if you're expecting something and you already assumed it, it is not your fault. It is not your fault. You have laid so much on expectation that was failed, and sometimes you even question it on actions. You placed it on communication. Why do you love so much of assumption? Why do you just love assuming things that are not real? Why do you work with a reality you cannot see it survive? Not because many people are not doing it, but because so much people are doing it, and you believed by this you can run with it. Let me tell you, the fact that it has a lot of results does not mean if you do it you have a lot of results. And the fact that you change the black to yellow does not mean the market value is going to change. So because you were tied with too much assumption, even this reflecting on businesses, you cannot even invest or build something that is worthy to be sustainable just because you have an assumption that it might fail. So why are you creating the assumptions of worry when you can rewire your assumptions into positivity. Direct conversation is that our expectation towards things, if it is directed into unrealistic expectations that are carrying negative direction, you should know that you keep judging things wrongly. Now, the third thing I'm going to share now is actually something that me personally I'm actually guilty of, and many of us actually guilty of it, and it is called comprehension problem. Many Nigerians are actually dealing with it, but they might refuse to. Why? Is it because they believe so much that they have learned this language and they think it's theirs. And guess what? The language in which I was using presently is not my language. So the native expression of it, I might never understand it. There is native expression of a language that you don't know, and not just like your own native language. Sometimes your own native language, you can say something is actually correct, but it is just, I don't know how to put this, but let me put it in the right way so you understand. It is just sarcastic. You can use a sarcastic statement by my native understanding of this, but in English, you don't use sarcastic statements. You can actually see it directly, and that is a sentence. So sometimes you can see a post, somebody said, most Nigerian youth are actually aggressively lazy. So sometimes you can come across this post, and the first thing that will always come to your mind, it is just the Nigerian youth are lazy. So picking up the facts that resonate with your what your brain can pick, and you speak about it. This is the deep reflection of how we can measure your IQ. So most of us go to online, bash people, and make comments on a post we never understand. So even sometimes the person that made the post might not know the weight of the words actually using. I actually learned this a few years back, and from then I stopped rushing to speak or trying to speak very fluently. I try to pick my word very meticulously, and I prefer using reverse statements or reverse sentence when it has to do with expression. So how can your comprehension compete in the global scale where people are using 4G, but you're still thinking under the frequency of 2G? So how can you understand a post that is actually thinking above your own frequency when you're still thinking under the fluence of 2G? 2G is good, but 4G is more better. Let's say 5G. In expectation, you grow. 10G is more faster. The distance gap between our IQ and that of Chibazin, I think, is just 2. It means that time will come where a lot of things we have posted online or we have contributed online, maybe based on post videos or comment, children of different generations will grow up. Same way we are seeing let me say, those of the 90s as old school. You understand? There's a lot of things we're going to be doing at this generation, and the generation will come and start seeing us as apes, because the frequency of our understanding is. I just thought to share this. Thank you.